Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to the Profit Manix channel. My name is Alex, and in today's video we're going to be looking at Chainlink. But before we start, as always, remember to like this video if you find this type of content useful and subscribe with notifications on for more content like this. Alright, so if you haven't already, please make sure that you follow me on Involio. We are only 50 followers away from the 4,000 followers mark on this account, so really happy about that. And today's video is a request by one of you, specifically HG Cookie, which asked me the price target for the bull run on spot for Chainlink. Okay, so if you haven't already, please go and request your coins or whatever sort of request that you want to make to me, either on Involio or under this video below in the comments, and I will deliver any sort of help that you need with. Just ask me and I'll try to deliver as much as possible. So without further ado, let's have a look at Chainlink and what I'm looking for Chainlink, because he asked if the target for Chainlink for this particular bull run is anything specific, and I will try to answer this question in the clearest way possible. Okay, so let's clean up a bunch of stuff. So what I've done over here is, first of all, go on a clean chart for Chainlink, understand what it is from a range perspective, and what you are seeing over here is the premium and discount range that Chainlink has set from the very beginning, okay, all the way up to the all-time high, okay. And essentially, the reason why we use this tool is to understand whether price is at a discount, which is good for longs and for buying on investments, or if it's at a premium and it's better to short or start selling. And we can clearly see that right now Chainlink is at a discount. Now, before you go and buy it, you need to understand that altcoins have been underperforming for the most part for this part of the cycle. So a lot of altcoins are in the same exact position as Chainlink. Okay, so please don't think that because it is at a discount that it is necessarily a good time to buy, because a lot of people will tell you, well, look how low you're buying this, which is correct. You know, it is at a discount. However, one thing that I really wanted to make sure that you guys understand, and I really want to make a video on this, is something that I posted about yesterday on Involio. So please make sure that you follow me there, because I dropped this sort of knowledge on pretty much on a daily basis now. And essentially what I was trying to get to, and I'm gonna skip for the most of this thread. You're free to stop the video and read it or go on Involio. But essentially what I talked about towards the end is the fact that the most important thing that you need to know is the hidden crypto tax that most don't know about, which is token unlocks. And also another important thing that I've said is that as crypto becomes more and more mainstream, more and more capital is required to enter the market to see similar gains as to the previous cycles. So if you are gonna base your investment decisions, right, simply on the fact that in the last bull run, from the moment that Chainlink market's bottom, right, it went up to, you know, $53, and it successfully increased its value, right, to up to 32,000%, which is insane. Actually, prior to pandemic close, that is 3,155%. But if you manage to get in 2018, and actually all through this, right, you will have made a very significant amount of dollars, right? So, you know, what I was trying to clear over here, and I will make a video specifically on this topic, so please make sure that you are subscribed and that you follow me on Involio, because what I just showed you, right, is actually a very popular belief in the crypto space, which is other for the long term. And I said, although not always, this is mostly used to justify bad entries on investments. And as it is generally believed that eventually price will catch up and put that investment back at a profit or a break even, right? Guys, what I'm doing in these videos is technical analysis based on what I see on the charts. I don't know much about Chainlink. I don't know if they have had token unlocks or anything like that. But we can clearly see that so far it is underperforming. So what it should be doing, right, based on this information, is be very cautious, because it is not only Chainlink, but because this is the first coin that I'm doing in this series, I'm going to be focusing more also talking to you guys about the aspects of investing into altcoins at this moment in time in this particular cycle, okay? Because crypto is becoming more and more mainstream. It has become more mainstream, right, during the pandemic, which of course, people may have learned from their mistakes, or at least they had the perception that they have had about learning from mistakes, and they feel like buying now or buying before this starts moving is a good idea, which is not necessarily bad. But what I'm trying to get to here is that your positioning into altcoins is your determining factor in terms of how much money you are actually going to make, okay? Because from a technical perspective, and I will get into this, I don't feel like Chainlink has the capabilities of breaking the all-time high, at least for the data that I'm being presented today. And I will get to why. I'm on the monthly chart, mind you, okay? And ever since we set this range, right, there has been no sort of break, neither to the upside or to the downside. So essentially we are inside of this range, and there is no guarantee that we will break out to the upside and create a new all-time high this time around. There is honestly nothing to suggest a possibility, unless, right, you do what most people that are bullish in crypto do, which is essentially they plot a Fibonacci, right, and they go from bottom to top, and they say, look, it's in accumulation and expansions are leading a Chainlink to new all-time highs. 3 figures is coming for Chainlink, which is not the most logical approach that should be taken, because yes, while that could potentially still be valid, we don't know if that is going to be valid tomorrow. And if anything, when you're going to be measuring, if you're going to be taking measurements, right, Fibonacci levels from the bottom to the top, you have no guarantees as to that happening in this particular cycle. It may play out in the next 10 years for all that we know, right? So based on the data that we have today, and for data that we can actually perhaps expect, right, to see in this coming bull market, what I kind of want to show you, and I really get into this inside of the community to the students, and I actually make them understand that price is fractal and that there are sequences as to what happens next. Essentially, it's very similar to the Elliott wave theory, which I don't personally use, but I see it happen and I understand why it does and why it works, okay? Because you can see that price right now seems to be in a sequence where after making the all-time high, we wiped some lows, we had a retracement, we then went lower, we now had a retracement, and there's nothing to say that this bottom over here will hold, because the sequence is actually not suggesting that. Unless we start to see a change and invalidate this theory where we actually make another higher high, we then retrace and continue higher, okay? So right now, Chainlink is currently stranded. And if you are gonna believe, right, that, the bottom is in, then you better hope that this bottom over here holds. I personally don't think that is the case, and I will also get to why that is the possibility right now. So essentially, if you're gonna be zooming in, right, in this sort of bottom that you have going on over here, because you don't know if it's a short-term bottom or not. What you should be looking at is actually the main support for Chainlink, and it's this line over here. So this line over here, if you look at it, is the high that was made on January of 2018. We then had a retracement back to it on October 2019, which held. We then bounced higher. Then when price struggled to continue higher due to the pandemic, right, and it retraced exactly to this level. This is not the scenario that we currently have at this moment in time over here for this high, because yes, while we did bounce off of it and we had a bullish reaction, we don't really know if this is going to hold just yet, and it's for a very simple reason. If you plot a Fibonacci, right, from this low over here to this high, you can see that price is still strained in this golden pocket area where we actually rejected of the 61.8%, which is not the most bullish of reactions that you can have, okay? And this is actually suggesting the price may go lower. Now, you may have a similar situation as to what happened over here if we actually maintain above this green box over here, which I've used to represent a similar situation as what we had over here back then, where, you know, from this high over here to this low, essentially this was a great moment to be buying. And you can see the price has only tapped to this black line over here, which is this high over here, and then it retraced. So any sort of wick fishing that you may have lower than that, assuming that this does hold, right, could be a good moment to buy. But if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I kind of want to point out the fact that you kind of have this trend over here that you should not be ignoring, in my personal opinion. And this is actually leading the price, right, of Chainlink potentially back to $1.50. Now, you can call me crazy. You can say, wait, what are you saying? You believe that Chainlink can actually go back down 90%? Well, honestly speaking, if you have seen the video that I've made yesterday, which if you haven't, please go and watch this video. I literally went and explained in great detail why I believe that crypto needs to crash. Okay, so if you want to know everything about that, then please go and do yourself a favor and watch this video over here, because you know, there is trend line that has been left untested. Okay. And while this, of course, may happen at a later date, it is very important that you understand that this is also a possibility, because you can see that not only do we have one trend line, but we also have another trend line which actually leads to lower. Now, there is, of course, the fact that this is an increase in trend line, which, of course, the more time goes by, the higher the price gets, which is good, because that kind of safeguards the price of Chainlink to go any lower than that. And the reason why I want you guys to focus on these prices over here specifically is because one very simple concept that I teach about trend lines and trend line channels is the fact that if a trend line, right, has only been hit 2 times, and you can see on both of these trend lines there's only 2 hits, right? 1 hit over here, 2 hits over here. We are missing the 3rd hit of the trend line. 1 hit over here, 2 hits over here. This has not been optimized because it was done on a lower time frame. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Usually when you see something like this, it means that price eventually will go back to a trend line. It usually does that at least up to the 3rd time. From the 3rd time onwards, you can then choose to ignore the trend line in certain cases, okay? But it's very important for you to understand that this trend over here is still for reaches, okay? We don't know, however, if it's going to happen now or a later date. However, the reason why I started this conversation about potentially seeing Chainlink going back below $1.50 is for a very simple reason. It's because if I remove this line over here, what do you see? Well, this word, right, the red word that I've added on the chart is used to essentially call out a point in the chart where we have relative equal lows. And I actually mistyped that. It's actually rels, relative equal lows. So when we see relative equal lows, and it's essentially wicks or any sort of flow that are pretty much in the same exact level. And you can see that this is the situation that we have for these two particular wicks. Now, when you have this situation on the chart, the way that we interpret this when we do technical analysis, right, is we understand that there is liquidity below these 2 wicks over here that has remained untapped, that the algorithm of the market, right, eventually will go back to, okay? And I can actually show you a very good example of this that has actually happened at a recent time, which is the last bottom for Chainlink. You can see the year, for example, right? We had 2 relative equal lows, and then price eventually went and tapped the liquidity below these wicks. And have a look at what has happened afterwards, right? We had an expansion that from this low over here to this high has pushed the price higher for Chainlink up to 362%. So, you know, you shouldn't hope that this doesn't happen, because one thing that you need to understand, especially if you already understood where I'm going with this thread, right, is that the lower that you buy, the better it is, obviously. And it's for a very particular reason this time around specifically, because the more mainstream crypto gets, the more money needs to flow into the market. So that is me trying to tell you, right, that if you're able to get a cheap price for Link, right, you're of course going to make a lot more money, because let's assume, right, and I'm going to answer the question of where I believe the target for Chainlink is going to be. And I'm just going to be using Fibonacci's. I will also use a trend line as well, just to show you why I don't think it's going to go any higher than this. And your most conservative target that you have at this moment in time is actually this level over here. I would say it will be 34.7 down to potentially 25, okay, 34 to 25. You may say, wait, what? Only this? That's why I said the lower you buy, the better it is. If you are going to be looking at diminishing returns, because perhaps there have been token unlocks and now there are a lot more tokens into circulation, there is a lot more money that needs to flow into Chainlink for it to see new all-time highs, okay? So I'm giving you conservative targets, okay? Please mind that. And what I'm trying to show you over here is that there is a lot of untapped liquidity lower. All this empty space represents a void of liquidity, right? The price eventually needs to go back to before it can actually push higher. And we already seen how that has happened in the past and why it should potentially happen once again. Now, I'm going to give you guys a visual representation as to why you should actually hope for this. So assume that you buy right now, okay? If you buy right now, up to my first conservative target, it is literally only 135%. If you see price getting up to my second potential target, it's going to be 217%, okay? However, let's assume that you even manage to buy these lows over here. Like, you believe that this is the lowest that it can get, and it goes up to my first target only, 376%. Or up to my second target, that's 542%. Now, it is completely up to you to determine if this is an altcoin that is worthy of Altseason if you're going to be buying at these prices. However, look at what happens, right? If, let's say, what I say about the trend line, right? Or even the wipe of the low. Let's be conservative with it, okay? And let's aim for these lows over here. Now everything changes, because at my first target, right, you're looking at 1,677%. Up to my second target, right, 2,300%. So what am I trying to tell you? That for this particular token, right, positioning is everything. If you're gonna be buying at the current prices, just know that it may not be as rewarding as you may think that it is, because you may put yourself in a position where you buy a lot of Chainlink over here, you DCA as it goes lower, but then as it goes even lower, you get scared and you don't even buy it, okay? Assume that that happens, right? And from whatever happens next, right? Let's assume that this happens, you've bought over here, this is your DCA area, price then goes lower, you don't buy, and then you see price starting to climb and pushing you at a profit once again, right? If it goes up to here, you're gonna be looking around at the other tokens to say, why this is going up 1,000%, this is going 1,500%, but my position is only up 200%. It means that my coin is lagging. It actually is not lagging. The only difference that you need to account for is when you're buying it and at what price, right? That is the most important aspect that you have into this alt season that a lot of people are not aware of. That's why I'm so inclined about making this particular video. Subscribe in case you haven't done that yet, because if you're gonna be buying this over here, right, and it only goes up to here, chances are that you are gonna believe that your token is lagging and that it will eventually go even higher. The problem with that is that if it doesn't happen, you're not going to be selling, and this will potentially even deplete even lower, right? And in order for you to realize, right, that if this comes in, right, like have a look how insane that could potentially turn out for the bottom buyers. That's 3,500%. That's 35 times the capital that you invested over here. So for every dollar that you put in, that's 35 bucks. The all-time high. So the same, however, cannot be said in your situation if you're going to be buying this. Like from this low over here to the all-time high, that's 553%. That's a 5x. Only a 5x. Okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you understood a couple of things about this alt season. If you guys want to learn more about alt season, how to position yourself correctly, the coins that I'm personally holding, and you want to learn how to do TA by yourself using my exact techniques, then please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Join the community down below. Profit Manage is open at this moment in time. You find the links down below. And with that being said, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.